They just Dynamax Cannon. Doesn't KO through the Aurora Veil. Sacred Fire lands into Articuno, but that doesn't KO either. Blizzard will knock out Ho-Oh and do a ton of damage to Eternatus. Really nice damage there. And now Rhydon's back. Welcome back to VGC Legends, the series where I spin a wheel of names to get a random legendary Pokemon that exists in Scarlet and Violet, and then build a team on the spot around that Pokemon and try it out on the Regulation I Best of 1 ladder. I do this for a couple of reasons. One, I just really like legendary Pokemon, and I was doing stuff like this even before I made a YouTube channel, just trying a bunch of them out, trying to give them their due. And two, I think that speed building a bunch of teams and building around a bunch of different Pokemon and giving what are sometimes some pretty half-baked ideas a go is a lot of fun and an interesting experiment. I'm going to get some good teams. I'm going to get some bad teams. Last time I rolled one of the worst restricted Pokemon right now, although there are still worse ones available. But yeah, I'm going to get into some fun situations along the way, and it should be enjoyable, and it may even be a little bit informative about the game. But let's see what today's legendary is. See if we get something better than Palkia. Gen 9? Gen 1? Gen 1. Articuno, my favorite legendary here in the 10th episode. You love to see it. Let's go to the builder. Alright, so obviously the first question here is which form, and I think the answer is going to be Cantonian Articuno. Not because it's the better one, I strongly suspect that it isn't. Galarian Articuno, it has competitive, but it also gets, I believe, all three of Tailwind, Trick Room, and Imprison. At least it did in Gen 8. I think it still does. Which makes for some interesting speed control games. People used it in Sword and Shield for that purpose. I don't know that anyone's using it in Scarlet and Violet, but I definitely think there's probably more potential there. However, Cantonian Articuno is my favorite legendary Pokemon and has been for as long as there's been such a thing as a legendary Pokemon, so we're going to do what we can with it. And I think we're going to build it like the way that it was built in Regulation E when it won a special event in Europe. So something like Terra Ice, Choice Specs, Snow Cloak, Blizzard, Freeze Dry, probably Sheer Cold, and in Reg E, the last slot was Ice Beam. I can think about whether I want that or something else. Obviously, this is not going to be as good as it was in Regulation E because we're in a restricted format with powerful Pokemon that are threatening to KO Articuno. I mean, as long as they connect through the Ice-type defense boost in Snow, through any kind of Aurora Veil. If I even manage to get Aurora Veil set up, and that's pretty difficult right now because there are a lot of other weathers running around, right? Pokemon like Koraidon and Kyogre make Articuno's life a lot more difficult. Before I look at restricted Pokemon, let's actually see what gets Aurora Veil. The obvious answer is Alolan Ninetales because it also sets up the Snow, but it's just not very good in this format. It's not very strong. It's overwhelmed by other weather users. That said, the only other one that gets Snow Warning is Abomasnow, or of course Snover or Alolan Vulpix. But where is Snover on this, actually? Does it not learn Aurora Veil? Okay. I feel like I knew that at some point because of the PDL. Yeah, I had Snover in Season 6. Okay, Abomasnow, Ninetales, or Vulpix. Not a very inspiring group. I honestly would consider Iron Bundle with... But again, then I need Manual Snow and I have to dedicate a move slot to that. It's probably not worth it. I'm probably better off just trying to make Alolan Ninetales work. If I were to run Iron Bundle, then I'd probably want Miraidon. That's probably a good choice for one of the restricteds anyway, because of course it has that Bolt Beam coverage with Specs Articuno. Try to overwhelm opponents, and I can run Tailwind with that. Maybe like a Farigiraf, but I'm practically filling out every team slot already now. Maybe I need to slow down a little bit. The other thing is, I don't think I want to run a Blizzard spamming restricted if I already have Articuno spamming Blizzard. Blizzard spam is already not that good. And probably whatever my other ice type is will have it, so, you know, not worth tripling down on. So something like White Kyurem is probably out. So Miraidon and maybe Ice Rider, although again that's a lot of ice types. Honestly, maybe like Zamazenta or something. I'd say Koraidon, but that's obviously no good with Snow. Something like that. But I'm getting ahead of myself, like I said. Iron Bundle setting manual snow, I think is probably not worth it. And if I'm running Iron Bundle, why am I not just running that instead of Articuno? I mean, the obvious answer is because that's not what this series is, but it does raise a little bit of a sort of a fundamental problem in the builder there. I mean, so it goes when you're trying to make Articuno work in a format like Reg I, but I think we just have to try to make do with Alolan Ninetales. But I do still like Miraidon as one of the restricteds. Miraidon. I could run Snowscape Tornadus, actually, instead of Whimsicott as the Tailwind setter. That's an option. The second restricted, I think I want a physical one. So for physical restricteds, Ice Rider Calyrex, Origin Giratina, Groudon, no. Koraidon, no. Black Kyurem. Kind of a funny idea, but not really sure how it's not just worse than Ice Rider. Not Duskmane Necrozma. For some reason, Rayquaza feels a little bit interesting, although of course it negates snow while it's on the field. I probably don't want that. Solgaleo. Maybe Solgaleo. Probably better off with Zacian or Zamazenta at that point. Let's do Zacian. Let's just go offensive here. And then the last Pokemon, could probably use a Galarian Articuno to try to shut down the opponent's Trick Room, but obviously that's not allowed because I already have an Articuno. I think I do want something I could do like Incineroar even. It's sort of an anti-Trick Room mon in that it can knock off or Will-O-Wisp, an Ice Rider, it can Snarl, special attackers. Not really sure it's enough by itself. I could do Umbreon. I could do Chi-Yu, honestly. Chi-Yu is kind of interesting. How do I deal with Indeedee Ice Rider stuff? Well, I have Zacian. Let's just do Chi-Yu. Let's just go all-out offense here. Yeah, maybe something like a... I was gonna say Ting-Lu, but... don't really love that when I'm so loaded up with special attackers. Maybe something like an Incineroar or a Farigiraf even would be more fundamentally sound here, but with a series like this, sometimes I like to just click some buttons, and with Miraidon, Zacian, Specs, Articuno, and Chi-Yu, I should be able to click a lot of buttons. But let me fill in the details of the sets, and then we'll go over them and see how that goes. Okay, and here's the team. I decided that Ice Beam was fine for Articuno, partly because there's so much wide guard in this format, but I mean also it's Terra Ice, so what else? Nothing else too strange here. Obviously it's Snowscape Tornadus. Terra Fairy Zacian is something I've heard about recently that seems to make a lot of sense to me on paper. The choice specs are not available for Miraidon because they're on Articuno, so I thought about Life Orb. I've gone Magnet so that I can bluff specs in closed team sheet. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it's not enough damage, but hopefully it's still quite a lot of damage. And then I kind of just default to choice Chi-Yu sets. I don't really know how to run Chi-Yu a different way. There's probably a better Chi-Yu set than I could have come up with, but I think Scarf is fine here. And as far as anti-Trick Room tech goes, Chi-Yu should still hit stuff pretty hard before it gets to set Trick Room. I can still click that Snarl if I want. And I do also have Taunt on the Tornadus, although we'll see how valuable that is. I'm building around Articuno here. And look, sometimes you make up for a team's deficiencies a little bit in Best of 1 by going very aggressive with it. So that's kind of what I steered into in the end with this team. Play until 3 losses as usual. First opponent has Zamazenta, Chien-Pao, Walking Wake, Koraidon, double fighting restricteds, interesting. Goldango, and Amoonguss. So they have a Koraidon. So, yeah, getting Aurora Veil set up is going to be tricky. I mean, the basic setup should actually be pretty doable, right? Because if I really have to, I can lead Ninetales Tornadus and click, like, Aurora Veil Snowscape turn 1. Or, Koraidon's faster than Ninetales. If they lead with it, I get the Snow turn 1 anyway. It's the first battle of the video. Let's take a little bit of a risk here and lead Articuno Ninetales. I'll bring Maybe I want to bring my restricteds. Definitely want to bring Zacian. Okay, problem. I want to bring everything, but the game doesn't let me do that. I'm gonna Moongus. Maybe I want Murad on here. I think I want Chiyu more. Chiyu is very offensively threatening into a lot of their team. This is the other problem with Ninetales in this format. You have 2 restricted Pokemon, you're going to want to bring most of them to most games. And then where do you find room for Ninetales? Is it really one of your 2 best supports? They can switch the Koraidon in here if they want. They also can Wide Guard and put Articuno to sleep. So I'm going to click Ice. It's the first game of the video, and they could Terrasilize. I'm going to click Sheer Cold into Amoonguss. And I'll click Aurora Veil, make them prove it. Oh, they let me have the Aurora Veil. They also did not Terrasilize the Amoonguss, so I got that turn completely wrong. And I locked Articuno into Sheer Cold for nothing. Well, I'll just click through it, I guess, and Blizzard. Let Ninetales get some damage off before it's knocked out. They protect the Amoonguss here. I could freeze the Zamazenta. That's the other thing about Blizzard spam, and the reason Articuno was effective in Reg E, partly that it gets so many kicks at the can with Snow Cloak and its natural Special Bulk and Aurora Veil and the Ice-type defense boost that it can click Blizzard and or Sheer Cold a bunch of times and eventually get some luck. Kind of want to go Chiyu here. Yeah, I think Zacian is just not threatening enough to the Amoonguss. Let's just overheat the Amoonguss slot. Maybe they'll finally Terrasilize it now, but given that they didn't before, I think they might be saving their Terra for something else. Oh, they Terrasilize the Zamazenta. They let me have Amoonguss. They're going to KO Chiyu back? Yeah. Alright, well, it's Articuno and Zacian against the world, and unfortunately, because I never switched it out, Articuno is now locked into Sheer Cold for the rest of the game. Real Goldango. Sheer Cold that, and I don't think I want to Terra Fairy in front of Goldango. I guess I'll play Rough into Zamazenta without Terra. They protect. Maybe I should have protected this turn too. Nasty Plot Goldango. Articuno stays asleep. I could have sworn that was I could have sworn that was 4 sleep turns, but I guess that was the 3rd one. Yeah. Alright, I lost count in my head. Well, they still have to hit Articuno to land a Make It Rain. Zacian has no good damage into Goldango, so I will just protect it this turn. And I'm looking for Articuno to wake up. They Wide Guard, they don't know about the specs, I guess. Makes sense. I'm looking for Articuno to wake up and land this Sheer Cold. Only got halfway there. The half that was guaranteed. Now we're not in snow anymore, so Articuno can't dodge their attacks. So this is GG. I'm just going to Terra Fairy here, try to get the KO on Zamazenta. Crit would have done it. Before my whole team drops to Goldango. Alright, that was Articuno, folks. Play at least a couple more games, of course. I'm higher on the ladder than I remembered. And I'm just clicking Sheer Cold, turn 1. Alright. Ah, it's this team. I used this one recently. Yeah, it's physical priority spam. If you didn't catch the video, it's the 5 tournament teams one that I did for the last tournament teams video of the season. If this goes up on the day that I think it will, it was exactly a week ago today. Anyway, Articuno is pretty allergic to Zamazenta and Ninetale, or Zamazenta and Entei. Not so much Giratina though. We're gonna try this again. We're gonna bring Zacian because Zamazenta's scary, Chanpao scary. Entei's scary to Zacian, but at least Zacian is an extreme speed resist. And probably I should bring both restricteds to this one. Although I don't find Miraidon super convincing in this matchup. Maybe this is another Chiyu bring. I think it is. Although a lot depends on what they bring. Chanpao Zamazenta to lead. You know, I kind of want to click Sheer Cold into Zamazenta. Yeah, let's not learn any lessons. Let's just do that. And Aurora Veil. Maybe we land a Sheer Cold this time. You never know. Let's crash into Articuno. Behemoth Bash Ninetales. This time it one-shots. It didn't in the last game. We missed the Sheer Cold. Okay. I can go Chiyu here. Because I can click Heat Wave. And if they use Zamazenta's action just to wide guard, that's probably good for me. And I might want to think about switching Articuno out here so I get the chance to change moves. And switch to Zacian is probably pretty safe in this position. So yeah, we'll reposition here. Try to get off with a Sheer Cold. It hasn't been working so far. Maybe I don't end the video before I land a Sheer Cold. We'll see. Heat Wave misses both. Okay. Alright, it's that kind of day. Chiyu's knocked out. Okay, alright. We'll lock Articuno into Blizzard here. Because Sheer Cold never beats Chen Pao. And also, it just doesn't beat 4 Pokemon. Unless, you know, incredible things happen. Behemoth Blade, Chen Pao, and Blizzard. Could still freeze something. Could still pressure Zamazenta into a wide guard. Protects here. I think it has wide guard on this team. Maybe it doesn't. That Behemoth Blade does pretty good damage to Entei. Imagine what a Sacred Sword follow-up will do. Don't even need to. Behemoth Blade KOs now. Let's go. Maybe I should be clicking the Terra Ice on Articuno. I don't know. These both have offensive Terra types. Articuno's might be more valuable here. Especially while I have just a couple turns of snow left. But yeah, I don't know, so I'm not clicking it. Entei's knocked out. Articuno's knocked out by a Behemoth Bash crit. Zacian against the world. Is it Chen Pao or is it somebody else coming in? It doesn't really matter, does it? Giratina. Okay, well, nice to see it. Let's try to knock it out before the game ends. Protect through the last turn of Snow. I don't know why. Snow doesn't really do anything at this point. I guess they're just killing Aurora Veil turns. Or I guess maybe they might have thought that it was the last turn of Aurora Veil because I kind of feel like Light Clay is the most obvious item on Ninetales, but I could see it running Focus Sash or Covert Cloak in this format. So maybe they thought the Aurora Veil, or at least that there was a decent chance that it would end. Anyway, we missed the Giratina with Play Rough for good measure. I think I missed like 4 attacks in this game, and only one of them was Sheer Cold. But it doesn't matter. GG. On to the next. I think I missed. I missed a Sheer Cold. I missed both targets with a Heat Wave, and then missed a Play Rough for good measure. This is a Ho-Oh Eternatus team. This is a Reg G team. No, it isn't. They're 2 restricteds. But I recognize this team from somewhere. I don't know. They don't have weather or a whole lot of speed, so maybe I start freezing some things, you know? Maybe I led a Sheer Cold into this team. This is a team that invites it a little bit more than most. I'll bring Zacian. Ah, man, they have such good Zacian and Mirad. They have Ho-Oh, they have Rhydon, so they have excellent answers to both of my restricteds, but I guess that's how it goes when you're building this kind of team. Bring my restricteds anyway. It's time to just bring some sheer power and also Ninetales and Articuno to a matchup. They lead Grimmsnarl and Rhydon. There could be a fake out coming out into Ninetales, but I'm just going to click Aurora Veil and hope it works out. I am also going to Terrasilize the Articuno, partly for more damage on the Blizzard, but also so that it's just it just has a single weakness to Rock Slide instead of a double weakness. This Blizzard should do a lot. Terra Fairy on the Rhydon. The Blizzard will do a bit less. Light Screen from Grimmsnarl, but that means I get my Aurora Veil. Rock Slide doesn't do too terribly much damage in Snow and Aurora Veil. I'll just double Blizzard here. Maybe I could think about pivoting a restricted in, actually, like Zacian. But I don't know if the Grimmsnarl is Thunder Wave or something. I'll just double Blizzard here. Protect Rhydon. They do have Thunder Wave, but it's redirected into their own Rhydon. That's funny. This Blizzard will knock the Grimmsnarl down to 1%. Not quite a KO. They're going to bring Ho-Oh in. I would have liked to KO the Grimmsnarl there, but unfortunately they don't let me. We do get a freeze on the Rhydon. Now I'm not so keen on switching Zacian in, though. What I can do is Blizzard. It'll knock out Rhydon if they leave it on the field, and I can switch to Miraidon. Miraidon is a lot less threatened if they let me have Rhydon here. They don't, but Grimmsnarl's coming in to get knocked out instead. Miraidon will take that Sacred Fire, no problem. Not burned, but wouldn't mind too much if it were. Eternatus is here. Just gonna Blizzard. Just gonna Dazzling Gleam in case they try to cheese me with a Rhydon switch in. It's Dynamax Cannon. Doesn't KO through the Aurora Veil. Sacred Fire lands into Articuno, but that doesn't KO either. Blizzard will knock out Ho-Oh and do a ton of damage to Eternatus. Really nice damage there. And now Rhydon's back. I'm going to switch to Ninetales to set the snow back up and click Blizzard, and it looks like this team got a win. Whoa, look at that. Articuno taking that Dynamax Cannon. Of course, it's probably a bulky Eternatus, but yeah, through Aurora Veil, and Articuno just having a naturally high special defense stat. I think it's base 125. Look at that. The Articuno team is on the board. Articuno just sat there and clicked Blizzard every turn of this game and did most of the work to bring home this win. I mean, that's as good a showcase as it's going to get, but that means I'm still at only 2 losses for the video, so let's get another game. And once I lose another one, I might still keep playing until I land a Sheer Cold into something. I think now that I've said that, I probably will. Okay. Life Orb, Swords Dance, Rayquaza. It is... Oh, it is Scarf Annihilate, but there's no Final Gambit. Interesting. Sash Champao. Fairy Zacian, much like I'm running. Farigiraf, Rocky Helmet, Volcarona, no Quiver Dance. Okay. So Rayquaza turns off Weather. They don't have Weather, but they can make Weather not exist if they want. Miraidon probably goes kind of crazy into this team. Except the Zacian, and kind of accept the Annihilate. I've led Articuno Ninetales every game. Let's just do it again, and let's just bring my Restricteds. That's the plan. Maybe I'd... Nah, I don't want Tornadus here. I want my Restricteds and Ninetales and Articuno. I haven't brought Tornadus to a game, have I? It probably ended up not quite fitting the style of team that I ended up with here, but I don't know. I don't know. Too bad Whimsicott doesn't get Snowscape. Zacian, Farigiraf lead against Articuno and Ninetales. So, yeah, my Ice types are in danger here. I might want to just Terra Fire Ninetales immediately. And that way I can set Aurora Veil. They might take the KO on Articuno, but even then they have to hit through Snowcloak. So that's what I'm going to do. And you know what? I want this Sheer Cold into Zacian. Let's just go for it. Terra Fire, Aurora Veil, Sheer Cold. Let's go. What are they going to do? Look at how pretty these two ice types are next to each other on a snowy battlefield. It would look better in-game, but still good stuff. They do go for the Behemoth Blade into Articuno and knock it out. I would not bet that the crit mattered. Alright, well, I'll go to my Zacian now. Behemoth Blade theirs, and just throw off a Blizzard. I really hoped I'd get a Snowcloak dodge there if they went for the Behemoth Blade into Articuno, but obviously that's not a sound play. I just hoped it would work. Now I'm running max speed on this Zacian, so either I want a speed tie or mine is faster there. I know which option I prefer. Well, let's see. They're protect. Ah, they're going to get another foul play unless I freeze Farigiraf here. Shouldn't have played into that. Their hands on that one. No freeze. Okay. Alright, Zacian is in Farigiraf range, but what am I going to do? Did they switch to Volcarona here? They probably brought Volcarona, right? What if they let me have their Zacian and I also freeze the Farigiraf? It could happen. Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao's okay. I'd much rather hit that with a Behemoth Blade than Farigiraf. I'll knock it out with this Blizzard. Freeze? By Farigiraf, I meant Volcarona. Freeze? No freeze. They said Trick Room. Okay. Well, now max speed Zacian might be a disadvantage. Rayquaza. So that can extreme speed through my Zacian, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it, huh? I'll protect this turn. I'll throw off a Blizzard, even though I know Snow is not in effect right now. There's no extreme speed. The Dragon Ascent the Ninetales. Okay, smart. And yeah, I think that'll do it. I think my restricteds are too fast to get through this position. Let's go down swinging. And then I'll get another game and just try to hit a Sheer Cold into something. It's not an Articuno showcase without the Sheer Cold. They know I don't have specs, but they also know I don't have Protect. So I think they'll just take the KO here. I mean, they're trying to kill Aurora Veil turns, I guess, and it is almost over. Maybe they'll switch Rayquaza out. I feel like they should be fine just going for damage here. They also know I don't have Discharge or Parabolic Charge. Sure, and I do have Dazzling Gleam, but without specs and without Terra, because I used my Terra already. Take KO on Rayquaza here, but then lose to Zacian. I think the Zacian protects this turn. I'm gonna Electro Drift Miraidon. What if Miraidon... What if... It shouldn't... Miraidon should not be faster than Zacian, but what if it is? No. Okay. Alright. Let's just try to Sheer Cold something, and then end it there. Hard Trick Room? Looks like Sheer Cold food to me, except the Shadow Rider, or Ice Rider. Ninetales. No, not Ninetales. Articuno Zacian, because Zacian can threaten the Ice Rider immediately. Ninetales in the back, and... Geo. But the goal now is just Sheer Cold. I just want to Sheer Cold something. I'm leading Zacian to threaten the Ice Rider because I can't Sheer Cold that because it's an Ice type. And there it is. We're just locking in a Sheer Cold. They'll probably redirect this Behemoth Blade, but I'll try it anyway. Yeah, follow me. Behemoth Blade. Doesn't quite KO. Sheer Cold misses. Trick Room? Trick Room. So this time the Sheer Cold will go before the Behemoth Blade. Assuming both attacks go off, and I think they should. Follow me. Leech Seed. We land the Sheer Cold. Let's go. There it is. We get a Behemoth Blade into Calyrex. Nice crit. Perfect timing on the Sheer Cold, Articuno. You beautiful bird, you've done it. That's what I want to see. I didn't bring Miraidon, so I don't have Electric Terrain to stop this Amoonguss. Let's just click Sheer Cold into Terapagos and Sacred Sword. Spore Articuno. I should be getting Zacian off the field, shouldn't I? Is the Leech Seed? Yeah. Give me that Sheer Cold. Give me that Ninetales. Get the Snow set up. Snow Cloak active. Maybe I can get an Aurora Veil, although Ninetales is probably going to take a nap before I can do that. They Pollen Puff their own Terrapagos, bringing back the Terra Shell. That shouldn't matter to Sheer Cold, but gotta wake up. We wake up! I miss. Okay. It's fine. The snow's up now. I'll protect Ninetales through the last turn of Trick Room, so I can, unless they Terrasilize Terrapagos, I can safely click Aurora Veil. Actually, yeah, they do just have that answer to it. But we'll see if they go for it. They try to Spore Ninetales this turn. Sheer Cold connects it to Terrapagos. Let's go. And it's just the Amoonguss left. This is just what I should have been doing the whole time, I guess. Here, I'll Terra Ice the Articuno just for style points. Blizzard and Sheer Cold. This is how you win games with Articuno, I guess. That's the lesson here, the moral of the video. They forfeit. We don't get to see the Terra Ice come out, but GG's all around. This is what I'm here for, right? This is the fun of the series. Articuno is not a good Pokemon in Regulation I. This was not a sound team, but it's my favorite legendary. And it's not my favorite legendary for competitive reasons. It's my favorite legendary because I'm an old fan who remembers Gen 1, and for aesthetic reasons, because it's this beautiful bird with a magnificent tail that as a young kid I would imagine seeing flying across the sky on a snowy night. And I like ice types in general. Articuno is just kind of the classic, perfect legendary Pokemon design of my childhood, but you also love to see it come here and just throw off Blizzards and Sheer Colds, and that was a Terrapagos. That was a Calm Mind Terrapagos. That thing was setting up. That is built to sit on the field for a while and then power through the opposing team, but Articuno said nope. One hit KO, GG. Pass the baton to whatever legendary is next. It's going to be a tough act to follow.